Hello, I hope you're doing well. What I wanted to do today was take some time out to spend some time discussing the last few limbs of Patanjali's Eightfold Path of Yoga. So, in my previous two videos, we went through the previous five limbs, starting with the first two being the yamas and the niyamas, then looking at the next three, prana, asana, pranayam, and pratyahar. And today we will be looking at the last three limbs, which are Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So, what we've looked at before this is the yamas and niyamas, which are some certain lifestyle practices, and that will make sure that you are ready to practice the next limbs of yoga, which are asana, pranayam, pratyahar, and so on. So, like I said, the yamas and niyamas prepare a base for your life, for your mind and your mental states, which allow you to be a healthy individual who is ready for practicing the next stages of yoga. The same is true with asana, pranayam, and pratyahara. These are also nothing but preparatory steps that will ultimately take you to practice dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. So, with the yamas and niyamas, we now know lifestyle practices that we need to adopt, worldviews that we need to adopt when we are out there playing our roles in the world that will allow us to be a healthy and stable individual, so to speak. Once we've done that, we practice asana, which is we learn to sit in a steady and comfortable position. We learn to ensure that our bodies are strong and capable of being able to sit in the posture that we want to, followed by pranayam, which is we learn to control the life force and the various energies within the body. We learn to direct them towards one thing, such as the spinal pathways, and the different yogic centers like the point between the eyebrows and the crown of the head, and so on. We learn to calm the prana down because the pran is linked to the mind. So having a calm breath, calm pran leads to calmness within the mind, which allows us to practice pratyahar, which is internalization of awareness. We move our awareness away from all the different senses, all the outside world. We move it within ourselves. We take it away from all the distractions. And now we are internalized and centered, ready to practice the next steps, which are, like I said, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So, Dharana means concentration. So, once we have our attention internalized, once we have our awareness internalized, what we need to do is we need to pick an object to focus on. This can be anything. This can simply be the breath. This can be certain points, like I said, the point between the eyebrows, the crown center. This can be a particular deity, the image of a god. This could be peace, love, divine love, joy. This could be pure consciousness. Whatever it is that you want to experience, whatever it is that you want to focus on, you pick that object up and you choose to focus on it. That is dharana. So, what you are doing is instead of letting your mind randomly go around in all the random directions with the hundreds of thoughts that it has all the time, you stop that. You pick one particular thought, such as peace, and you constantly focus on peace. So you've decided that you're going to focus on peace, and now you start doing that. What would it be like? You start to wonder, what would it be like if you could experience peace in this moment? You start to maybe affirm that I am peace. I am experiencing peace right now. I am fulfilled. I am content. You may use these words, you may not use these words, depends on your preference, but the important thing here is finding ways to experience that which you want to experience. And the difference between dharana and Dhyana and Samadhi and so on is that dharana is the first step. This is when you choose to pick that object and you actually pick that object up and start focusing on it. Dhyana is when that focus becomes continuous. Dhyan translates to meditation. So if you look at it, like I had said in I think my first video, meditation is really meditation. True meditation happens actually really really late. There's a lot of preparatory work that goes on before, so that you can ultimately practice meditation. And this is why meditation is difficult, because if you haven't mastered these earlier steps before, then going straight to meditation is usually always difficult. But if you take your time out, if you learn these things, if you practice these things, if you do your pranayama, if you sit in a steady and comfortable position, if you internalize your awareness, then all those things would really definitely help you way more than just trying to sit down and meditate without any prior knowledge or practice beforehand. So regardless, meditation happens when your concentration becomes continuous. So for instance, you decided to focus on peace, but you got distracted again by something else, some other thought. Then you go back to the thought about peace, you go back to focusing on peace. So you are still at the dharana stage here, because you are constantly bringing your mind back towards the object of focus. But when you don't have to do that anymore, when you are constantly and continuously able to focus on that object without much effort, that is when you when that is when you're truly practicing meditation. One of the best ways to think about this, and this is quite a common example that is used, is proper meditation is like oil. So when you pour oil out, um, it's like a proper stream. It's not broken. It's a very smooth, continuous, proper stream. So meditation is like that, when your awareness is flowing smoothly and properly and perfectly, and when it's not broken at all, like it is not getting distracted into 100 different thoughts. That is when you are practicing meditation. Like I said, when it's smooth and continuous. And as you continue on to practice dharana, you keep bringing. So what this does is, focus is like a muscle. So you constantly bring your awareness back to the point of focus. So you keep thinking peace, 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 peace. Every time you get distracted, you bring your mind back towards your object of focus. And the more you do that, the better you get at it, the stronger you get at it. Eventually, such that it becomes a continuous process, and you move from concentration to meditation, you move from dharana to dhyan. And now going to the final stage of the Eightfold Path of Yoga as outlined by Patanjali, moving from the dhyan to samadhi. So what samadhi means is cognitive absorption. Patanjali describes it best when he says that during samadhi, the object of meditation exists solely as itself, and the seer, the one who is contemplating the object, exists as if void of itself. So I think it's a bit tricky, and I'm sure I didn't explain it very well, but I will do so now. So, for example, the difference between meditation and samadhi is that in meditation, there is a sense of separateness. So you think that there is peace, and then there is a you that is experiencing the peace. There is a you that is focusing on peace. And even though the focus is continuous, and even though the flow is great, there is still like a fine line of distinction between the two. So peace is your object of meditation, and you exist as the subject, separate from it. But what happens in samadhi is that you as a subject cease to exist, and all that remains is the object of your focus. So that is when you experience oneness, that is when you experience cognitive absorption. So you are completely one with peace. You have now become peace, and you, for the duration that you are experiencing samadhi, there is no sense of self, there is no sense of I exist separate from this object. There is only the object shining, devoid of the sense of self or the subject that is experiencing that or focusing on it. So there are various stages to samadhi as well. There is samadhi with support, wherein you have this, you pick up an object and you focus on that object continuously until you become one with it. And then there is samadhi without support, wherein you do not use um, an object, particular object, and you directly learn to move within pure consciousness. You directly learn to experience pure existence. But I think that that is a much more of an advanced stage and an advanced practice, but it's not necessary to discuss that right now. But I hope this gives you a good understanding of the different stages. So once again, what we're trying to do is we are trying to live good, healthy lifestyles by practicing the yamas and niyamas, such that our minds are free and we have as little distraction as possible. Once we have that set, we sit in a stable and comfortable posture with asana. We practice breath awareness. We can practice pranayama of various kinds to calm our mind. Once we have a calm mind, we turn our awareness within. We have we pick, again, using all of these are preparatory tools. So even Patanjali says that these are like the external limbs of the practice, while Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi are internal limbs, so they happen within you. Well, even pranayama and pratyahara, even though you would think that they happen within you, they are still external compared to dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, because when you are practicing those, you are going even deeper within yourself. But pranayama and pratyahara is when you are just starting to move within. So again, like I said, these are all to minimize distractions. Pranayam is calming the mind down, calming the pran down, to minimize fluctuations within the mind, minimize distractions. Same with pratyahar, moving awareness within, away from all the outside world with its stimulus and enticing stimulus and whatnot. Practicing pratyahar, focusing on one particular object, not many, just one, so that you learn to maybe streamline your mind, so to speak. Learn to strengthen your mind so that you are its master. Instead of running around in wherever it takes you, you choose to control it. You choose what you want your mind to focus on, and what you want to experience cognitive absorption with. So why would one choose want to practice this? To be honest, I don't know much. I find it interesting. I find it fascinating. Um, it's truly a wonderful process, to be honest. I find it quite incredible. Once you have that experience, again, it's only something that you would know once you've had that experience and not without it. But from purely an intellectual or just putting it to words. To be honest, these things can't be put to words, but trying to come up with like a logical or something that a human would be happy with type of a reason to practice this, I think is, like I said, you get to choose what you want to experience. So if you are miserable, living a miserable life, you're not happy with yourself and things like that, then every day within your meditation, you can choose to experience peace. You can choose to experience bliss and tranquility within yourself. You can choose to identify with the self, the witnessing presence within you, instead of identifying with this body, which is, and this world, which is constantly subject to fluctuations and changes. You can contemplate spiritual scriptures. So, for example, if you're interested in things like the Bhagavad Gita, one of the best ways to truly understand what is being shared there is by practicing contemplation, is by practicing Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi on the various verses. So if you're philosophical, then, you know, taking a thread of contemplation and learning to practice Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi with it will give you the most tremendous insights ever possible. If you're devotional, then focusing on your beloved aspect of God the way you want, focusing on that image, learning to experience again Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi with that image of, with that deity, will help you establish a living relationship and presence with that aspect of divinity that you want. So, yeah, I think if you wanted a reason to practice it, then these could be good ones. To be honest, um, I don't look at it much in that sense from reasons. These these are good reasons, but I think the most important one would be just that you enjoy it. But you can't enjoy it if you have never really started it, and you won't start it if you, unless you think there's a good enough reason to it. So I guess I try to find reasons for other people to practice this. Um, I love it. I find it very fascinating. So there's that. Anyway, I hope this helps you. And I think this ends the series. Well, it was just 3 videos, but the series on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and his Eightfold Path to Yoga. Another thing, Samadhi, the word means sama and adi. So those are 2 words. Sama meaning same and adi meaning intellect. So again, what we're trying to do is making our intellect like same, in the sense, again, focusing on one thing, having that one pure mind, pure intellect, pure consciousness type of a thing. And in the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali uses the words yoga and samadhi interchangeably. So yoga also means union. So you're trying to unite your awareness with your object of contemplation by practicing yoga. And that is also what you're doing with samadhi. So just 2 more points that I had in mind. And thank you for tuning in. Have a good day ahead. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.